Okay. So the major change is that we have Chelsea, who has been promoted to be the regional island coordinator. So that simply means that she will manage Maui, Kauai, and Hawaii Island as far as the advisors and the operations on those islands. And I will still be managing Oahu, ASLP, and then the statewide ASLP badge programming. Okay, so we'll be doing a few housekeeping with looking at our badge for this month, the time cards, and monthly report. And then we're gonna jump into cookies with Raina. Okay, housekeeping. So reminder about advisor responsibilities. Time cards is every Sunday. Reimbursements, we need your receipts and mileage submitted by the 5th of the following month. So keep that in mind for March 5th. We'll want those things. Same with monthly reports. We have same time 5th. And then these check-in meetings, and then we're writing cookies up until April. Okay, I'll be sending slides of this to you in an email right after this, and here's a hyperlink to the time card for you to fill out. For the monthly report, we have 2 links. So Oahu, you're going to stick to the Oahu monthly report link on the top, as you have been using, so nothing's changed. And the neighbor island you have started using, that's been sent to you, the neighbor island monthly report. Okay, so our badge this month is the money badge. I have a few links here for activity resources you can check out. You have our Pinterest board, and you can check out the US Mint has scouting badge resources all of their own, which is really great. Some of the activities I'll be doing on a multi-level is creating a goal tracker, practice money handling. So I like to continue doing the badge cookie booth and start introducing budgeting and grocery shopping with pretend toys and so on into the part 2. Then we want to find an activity to learn about money value, so more cash handling and games related to coins and the pictures of money. And onto the next part, in the second part of the badge, we will be doing making a money bank in some form, whether you're making a piggy bank or you can make a wallet and different things like that. If you have any questions, and I will continue to be sending out the curriculum that I create for my multi-level troops to everyone, if you choose to use them. So Girl Scout events, it's just a reminder that we want to have girls sign up, try and encourage as much as possible, especially for the specific highlighted events we have. I just wanted to highlight Oahu for a reminder that we have Sci Girl University in April, and May is a journey camp, and that should be pretty similar for the neighbor islands, but the dates may vary. Right now for March, we will be obviously focusing on all of our cookie booths and making sure girls sign up for that. So any questions before we jump into cookies?
Mia,
Go ahead.
my troop, I wouldn't say that we've like really completed the money badges, but we've done a good majority of it, like setting goals, having a tracker, kind of doing a pretend cookie booth, having like the older girls kind of manage the money and have the younger girls have a set budget that they have to like spend to buy their cookies that they want, right?
Mhm.
What I'm still having trouble with is getting like the older girls like consistent with their change. Like I find that I give them a lot of that time now to help with like learning change and stuff, but they also don't seem to be grasping it. as much as like say the brownies. Like my juniors are really struggling. How do I keep them engaged?
Well, that's definitely why for the money badge, we're going to repeat it a couple times because it always has to be repetition to get started. So that's kind of why I continue doing the cookie badge from
Mhm.
cookie badge to the money badge. And you may continue to do that. Trying to think of other things. I would, if they're really struggling, we would kind of put coins to the side. Otherwise, it would be patience and I wouldn't be stressed too much about it because it's okay if they're kind of doing that at the cookie booth and needing a moment because most customers would understand that the girls are learning and it's just going to take a lot of repetition for them to get used to it. Otherwise, you can just encourage and model for them when they're struggling and getting stuck at to help them with the counting and so on. That's what really helps me when different age groups are struggling with the arithmetic. We also can provide things like calculators for the actual cookie booth. Um,
That might help to have in
yeah,
our like
because
booth kit.
the main thing is we want them to get comfortable with the money and talking to customers is the number one thing, is the hardest part. Otherwise, on my curriculum that I sent to everyone on the very last page is the 6 times table. And that's been helping my girls a lot when I just point to them, okay, what's 2 boxes at $6? And they say, oh, that's 12. So that's not too much having to think about what's 9 cookie boxes at $6.
Yeah, we did something similar where we kind
Great.
of put the chart together.
Hmm.
And they got that pretty well. But when it
It's
came
just
to
the
actually
dollars and
like
fives.
yeah, but like giving change, um, like I said, I gave the daisies and the brownies a budget and they came up with some creative numbers to give the juniors. Um,
Oh, okay.
that was our pretend cookie booth. So I could just see that they were struggling to give change, especially when it came to like larger amounts. Because let me tell you, these brownies were coming up and saying, I want 2 cases, I want 3 cases.
Right, which is real world that happens too. That's the crazy part.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's where I think it's okay to give parents that, or not parents, us as parents and adults and the troop leaders, that's where we can model and assist them with that larger numbers that we can't really expect them to be able to do the arithmetic for. So that's totally okay if you're able, if you want to assist them while they're doing it, and not feel too pressured that they have to know this math. Because right now, help them with the math parts just to help them to get used to it. And the main thing is we're having them know the cookies, know that it's $6, and be comfortable talking to customers. And then we can always assist them and help them with the math as they're doing it at the cookie booth and for pretend. Otherwise, I usually limit the younger girls because I make them customers too. I try and set them up with scenarios if I get a chance to that are written on cards. And that's where they have questions like asking or saying that they like chocolate, which ones do you have? And that's usually sometimes helpful if the little ones are going a little too insane with saying they want 10 cases and so on, right? Or not really sure what to ask at that time. Yeah, that's what I do. Does that kind of help?
Yeah, thank you. It's really good in every other aspect except
Hmm.
for like that actual like math part, and it's surprisingly
Right.
like the older girls more than the brownies. So
Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder if it's the pandemic or something related or just those individual struggles.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, let's not struggle too much of knowing the exact math change, especially managing expectations that even as adults, we need extra help to be getting those numbers correct. Um, but definitely using the calculator is also a skill. So we can also introduce that as the next step as we're doing the money badge. Any other questions about program, activity?
This is Genevieve.
Hi.
Hi. I have some girls that just really don't want to wear the vest.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if other advisors, I know like Marissa, she was doing like an incentive chart, and I think that mostly works, but still there's that one girl that just is like, no, I don't want to work for it.
Well,
Um,
I
and
tell the
another
girls that
girls,
they can wear a
oh, go ahead.
shirt. Doesn't have to be a
Yeah,
vest. They can just wear the Girl
okay.
Scout shirt. Sometimes that's easier.
That was my next question. Like, is a shirt
Yeah,
gonna be all right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely fine. And I totally get like some girls just don't want to wear the vest, especially for me, it's a bit hot. So it's
Yeah.
okay if they wear it in and then maybe they take it off during the troop meeting. That's an option. And if girls are maybe brand new and they don't have a camp shirt yet or didn't get that shirt that's underneath the vest, we can
Mhm.
allow that they wear green if they want to have that incentive and feel like they're still being included is an idea.
Okay.
Because I
Well, thank
definitely
you.
understand sensory issues.
Yeah, our classroom is hot, and several girls are
Same.
like, I don't want to wear it. So I just want to know like how flexible we are.
Yeah, and we definitely just encourage it. Otherwise, it says the ASLP and they're coming from school throughout the day. So it's a little hard to have it on them, is one thing. And that's where they probably feel better. A lot of girls just wear the shirt
Okay.
or the Girl Scout color would be okay.
Thank
At least
you.
until they get an appropriate one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else before cookies? Okay, take it away, Raina. And if there's anything that comes to mind, we can wrap it up at the end when Raina's all done with teaching us about cookies. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Alrighty, I'm ready. Go ahead to the next slide. So as all of you know, cookies are about to arrive on island, and I'd be remiss not to say thank you to all of you. You're all such a huge part in cookies, not just working with your troops, but all of you on Kauai are gonna help on delivery day. Huge shout out to Genevieve for taking on the buffer support when booths are happening. Maui, the advisors are helping so much there as well. And then of course on Oahu, you all do so much to make sure your troops are running and all of you in that same vein. So thank you, thank you. Couldn't do it without you. So I really appreciate your help and hard work. So with important upcoming dates, next Tuesday is already Maui and Kauai's delivery days. So those are happening simultaneously. So those teams know what's going to happen. And then we'll just send an email reminder to the traditional troops as well, but you all kind of know the flow and know who to contact. So just kind of don't forget about the day. Your cookies will be at the delivery site. February 21st is in Kona. And then February 22nd is for Hilo troops. And then for Oahu ASLP troops, our delivery day will take place on Saturday, 24th. So those Girl Scouts have received a link to pick up their individual orders, but I know I've already connected with the few of you on Oahu who will be picking up for your entire troop. So we've already had those plans set. That first weekend of booths is Girl Scouts of Hawaii Cookie Weekend is also when cookie booths begin. So this weekend is also on the order card, so on the reward side. But this is when Girl Scouts sell 100 or more cookies during this weekend. Any combination of booths, individual sales, digital cookie. If they sell 100 or more packages during that weekend, they can earn the Girl Scouts of Hawaii Weekend patch. You might see some things online about National Girl Scouts Cookie Weekend. We're not officially participating in this year because it's the weekend before cookies arrive on island. It's actually this weekend. So that's where we came up with our own campaign, the GSH Cookie Weekend. And then booths are going to happen. They're going to have so much fun. They're going to be learning. And then the last day of cookie sales is March 31st. So enjoy your last week of rest and no cookie mayhem, because starting next week, it's going to be, the energy is going to come back with cookies on island and Girl Scouts getting really excited. Okay, you can go to the next slide. So just some check off points. The cookie permission form, many of you should have received. So this is just making sure that families are on the same page as council about what their responsibilities are. We've been able to secure booths for every one of your sites, and some of you did that on your own, so great job. I'm excited that every site or school ASLP troop will get to participate in at least one cookie booth, but I know some of you have more than that, so that's really exciting. There's a Girl Scout sign up for cookie booths, looks like, and then we'll be providing for Oahu troops cookie booth kit. But then for any Kauai, Maui, and Hawaii Island ASLP advisors, just let us know what you need for cookie booths. If there's anything that isn't at the office that's been missing that you could really do with, just let us know and we can send it over. Just want to make sure that you all also have the things that you need. And then you'll be able to assist families with cookie pickup orders as well. Okay, go ahead to the next slide.
I have a question about the cookie booth sign up for ASLP. I have a mom who's registered as a volunteer who's done the like cookie training for last year and this year, so she's super on it. If I were to give her like a cookie booth kit to like run a booth, like start a booth out for like the first half of what we've signed up for, is that okay?
Yeah, she's registered and background checked.
Yeah.
Yep, that's great.
Yeah.
She
She
can
was
lead a
at
booth.
she was at our overnight camp a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
The more the better. And then just on that, families can help you. So if you're leading the booth, families can be there with you to be that second adult. We'll talk more about that. But yeah, that's great. And yeah, if at any point you have questions, just feel free to unmute yourself. We have quite a bit to get through, so I just want to make sure I can talk through everything. So for your advisor cookie checklist, just some things to keep in mind and prep for before cookie delivery day or before booths begin. Make sure all Girl Scouts have cookie selling materials. I know that there's a mix of some of you do encourage Girl Scouts to do individual sales, some maybe not so much. But either way, we do want to make sure girls have order cards. So at the very least, they have access to reviewing what the rewards are. And then if they are doing in-person paper order sales, that they also have a money envelope so that they have a safe and consistent way of collecting money. And then some printables that you all should have received, but if not, we can send them directly to you. Is a digital cookie one pager. I know a lot of girls have already set that up. Campaigns flyer, and then own your magic path worksheet. Check for Girl Scout access to digital cookie. So many of you have already been reaching out if families need that registration link sent to them. That link does expire after 3 days. So if they're trying to go in now, most likely their link has expired. So it's super easy for us to resend the link. We just need to know who. And then like that second bullet point under that is if it's like a whole group of your Girl Scouts, just send us that whole list all in one shot, and we can just do it in one go. You want to check your access to the Troop Digital Cookie page. So you should have received your Troop Digital Cookie access a while ago, but a couple weeks ago, the Troop links were activated. So you do have to create that on your own, but you should be able to pretty easily. If you have any questions on the Troop link, just let me know. I know it's a little bit confusing sometimes, but that is a way that you'll be able to take orders or process transactions at booths. Or if, let's say, like a family member is asking you, oh, like, how can I get cookies? Instead of sharing one individual Girl Scouts troop link or Girl Scout link, you can share the Troop digital cookie link instead. That's one way to look at it. Check access to Square accounts before booths. Neighbor Islands, I might need to connect with you separately. On Oahu, we do set that up for everyone. I know on Neighbor Islands is kind of hit or miss. Not everyone has a Square account. If you want to use Square, we can easily set you up with one. We just need which email you want it to be associated with, and then we send you instructions on how to set it up. So if you want to use Square at Boots this year, just send me an email. This is particularly just for Neighbor Islands. Just send me an email, and we can activate that before Boots start. And if you are using Square, make sure you download the Square POS app. I think there's like different kinds of like Square apps depending on what you're trying to do. But the POS app is the actual way you process transactions. And so if you're going to have a Square account and you log in, the only way to know that you're associated with Girl Scouts of Hawaii is if you see the cookie menu board. If you're seeing like a blank menu or just like suggestions on a menu board, that Square link isn't associated with Girl Scouts. And so not you all necessarily, but like traditionally, volunteer-led troops are responsible for those fees. So we cover all the fees. So that's why you want to make sure that if you are setting up Square that you're following the process. But just send me a message and it's pretty easy to set up. And then if you're not receiving cookie bites, please let me know. It does include a lot of important information week to week. Most of which does apply to you all as well. I know we were able to troubleshoot some people's access to cookie bites, but do make sure you're receiving that. That goes out every Tuesday before 5 p.m. So it's just a good way to get all the like need to know information. All right, go ahead, next slide. Okay, so I'm going to do an eBuddy overview. Some of you know this, some of you may not. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about eBuddy expectations. Just generally this year, I really want to put a lot of the eBuddy data input in your hands because oftentimes there's money going from one person to another, receipts going from one person to another. And so to minimize any extra like missteps, I guess, I do want you all to do as much as possible within eBuddy. So we'll go over allocating cookies to Girl Scouts, how payments are handled, and then using the Boost Sales Recorder. And then Marissa, the Cookie Boss program packet is not included in the printables, but if you want a set printed out and sent to you, can you just send me an email letting me know how many copies you want, and we can print it off and I'll just mail it to you.
Yeah,
Same goes
thank
for
you.
whoever else. Yeah. Mia, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, perfect. So everyone should see my eBuddy page. Okay, perfect. So the first thing that we're gonna review is allocating cookies to Girl Scouts. So you all submitted an initial order. Some of that included Girl Scouts individual orders as well. So kind of do like a looking back in time and then what we're going to be doing moving forward. So after you pick up your troops initial order cookies on delivery day, one way you can view what cookies need to go to who is by going back to the initial order tab. And then you can scroll down and see by Girl Scout which of each variety they need. So I can see here, Leah needs 5 lemon ups, 2 do-si-do, 1 Samoa, 2 tagalongs, etc., etc. Mara here has a combination of order card initial orders as well as digital cookie girl delivery orders in her initial order. So eBuddy calculates that total. So I know in total, she is to receive 31 Adventurefold, 29 Lemon Up, 22 Trefoil, etc. So this is a way of viewing the data to say, okay, I have all my troops cookies now. Who needs to get what cookies? And that's just for the initial order. But let's say the Girl Scout comes to you and is like, Miss, I need 5 more packages of Lemon Ups, 2 more Thin Mints. We're always documenting that transaction under the Girl Orders tab. So let's say the Girl Scout comes to me as like, I need 5 Lemon Ups and 2 trefoils. Each of you should have the receipt booklet. It's like that smaller booklet. And when you, even just on like that front page, you should see something like this. Sorry, it's a little busy. but it includes at the top the troop number, maybe like service unit, and then the date of the transaction, and then each of the varieties. And then it breaks it out. On one side is cases, and then on the other side is packages. So even before I touch eBuddy and give Girl Scouts the cookies, when I'm about to do the transaction, I'm gonna put note down on the receipt booklet how many of each variety I'm giving that Girl Scout. So I would write out on the receipt 5 lemon ups, 2 trefoils, 3 do-si-dos. And then of course, just pay attention, is it packages or cases, right? That's a big difference. And then you can calculate it up, how much is due, so that they have a visual of how much will be due after you give them those cookies. And then there's also some section here saying, did they give you money? So if they handed you money at that same time, you can note that down as well. And then you want to make sure that both you and the Girl Scout or the parent sign off on it. Then you rip off that white part, and then you keep the yellow carbon copy inside the booklet. So that's step 1. If you're distributing cookies to a Girl Scout, you need to make sure that you're making out a receipt. Then after, when I have time to go back to my computer, which you should just plan to do pretty quickly after you do this transaction, you go into your eBuddy, and then you go into the Girl Scout. So let's say Leah wants to pick up more cookies. I wrote out the receipt, so the parent has that receipt of how many cookies they picked up. You then go into plus order, and then you put down the exact amount that was on the receipt. So it's 5 adventureful, whatever it was, 2 lemon up, 3 trefoil, the exact same amount that was on the receipt. So if there's ever any confusion towards the end of the season, we can use your receipts to reconcile what's been in eBuddy. And then you might want to put a comment like cookie pickup, like 3-1, let's say. They picked it up on 3-1, and this matches the receipt that's in my booklet. And then if they gave you money, you can put that total in here as well. And then you can click DOC and inventory. That then moves this data into the Girl Scouts digital cookie to show how many like offline sales they have or how much balance they owe. And then you just want to make sure to save. So then the other thing is that you're going to start to see that Girl Scouts are going to start getting these, the DOC delivery. So under the Girl Orders tab, DOC delivery, DLVR, is girl delivery. And then DOC shipped is shipped cookies. Shipped cookies, there's nothing you need to do. The customer makes the transaction, they order their cookies, they get it, the Girl Scout gets the cookie credit and the payment credit. But then you can see here, so under this DOC delivery, so the girl delivery line, you can see that there's no cookies allocated to it. That's because eBuddy doesn't know whether or not the Girl Scout has those cookies to fulfill that order. So oftentimes what will happen is the parent is already keeping track of their girl delivery orders in digital cookie. So they'll just come to you and they'll say, I need this amount of cookies per variety to fulfill my girl delivery orders, right? That's one way of doing it. If you're anything like me, I need to know exactly what it is that they need because I just want to do that, cross-reference. I want to do that double check. So one way you can double check them if they're just getting girl delivery cookies from you, there's this view right here. So the default view is all orders, but then you can also toggle girl delivery IO. So that's the initial order girl delivery orders or girl delivery after IO. So you can see here that Leah has already, it's kind of hard to see. So you can see that she's received a ton of girl delivery orders. And then eBuddy is telling me that in total, it's 4 adventurefuls, 4 lemon ups, 4 do-si-dos, 7 Samoas, etc., etc. That is one way you can check it. And I would recommend that as advisors to your troops that you're doing that double check, just in case they're not over taking out cookies. So then when they come to get those girl delivery cookies from you, You're gonna do the same exact thing. You're gonna write out the receipt and then you're gonna do the plus order. And then let's say it's just for girl delivery cookies. You can make the comment like girl delivery, pick up 3, 4, put in the totals that you gave them, matching the receipt. And then you can click check off DOC and inventory so that that data flows into the Girl Scouts digital cookie, and then make sure to save. And so you can tell too that the Girl Scout has girl delivery orders because their balance due starts to negative out. But once you start allocating cookies to that Girl Scout, that balance due starts to even out. So once you, so let's say going back, that's 35 cookies in total. So once I allocate all 35 of those cookies, that balance will even out and should be 0. Any questions on that? And this will make more sense once you start doing it too, if this is new to you. Let's say a Girl Scout comes to you and has distributed all of her paper orders and has collected cash from the customer. Remember, girls should only be collecting cash at the time of delivering cookies. You can just do a plus pay, put in the comment. Again, that should match the receipt. So payment 3.5, and then put in the total that they paid. And then again, eBuddy starts to balance everything out. And then you can click check off DOC and inventory so that data flows into their digital cookie. And then just make sure to save. So like I mentioned, so this receipt booklet is both for distributing cookies out, but also for any payments made. So that at any point, if a parent's like, I don't understand why I owe $60, we can use all of these receipts to reconcile what went out, what was paid, to then calculate up why that total is due at the end of the season. Any questions? There may be instances for Oahu advisors where you'll instead give Mia money, let's say, and you haven't inputted the data into eBuddy. If you are in that boat, please make sure that you're clearly notating who that money is from, whether or not it was inputted into eBuddy, and just like specific identifying information. Because again, sometimes the money and the cash and the receipts and all those things goes into a lot of different hands. So the more detail oriented you can be, even if you're passing that off to Mia or myself, that you're making it super clear that this hasn't been input into eBuddy, but this is Leah's cookies, Leah's cookie money. Okay, great. So the other thing,
Rena, it's
Yeah,
Genevieve.
go
I
ahead.
have a question. Where is the line that shows you that the balance that it's 0? Like if you go back to the single girls example,
This one, yeah.
yeah, where does it say that they're zeroed out?
This
At the bottom?
balance due at the end of the season should be 0. Right now it looks funny because she got girl delivery orders, but as soon as I start allocating cookies to her, because those are the girl delivery orders that happened after the initial order, then it's gonna start to balance out and equal 0.
I don't know if I can tell on my screen, but is it at the bottom of your screen or at the top?
Can you see like it's really little? It's so small. It's in the corner here.
Ugh.
Can you see it? It's
Am I
minus
the only one
210.
that can't see it? Okay, it's at the bottom. I'll look for it at the bottom.
Look on yours. You might have
Okay.
here. Yeah, you might have instances where some girls are negatived out, but that's because you'll have to start allocating cookies to them to balance out their girl delivery orders.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I just couldn't see it on your screen.
Yeah.
I'll
Sorry.
believe you.
Yeah,
it's fine.
believe me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good question. The only other thing to note is that you do need to make sure that you have enough inventory in your eBuddy to allocate those cookies. Most of you will, because you either have picked up the whole sum and that inventory is in your troops eBuddy, or you picked up that amount of cookies, and then it'll nicely balance out once you start allocating the cookies. But down here where it says difference, sorry again, hope you can see it, but you'll see in your eBuddy, if you go to the Girl Orders tab, at the bottom, there's the difference right here, very, very bottom. And then you see -5 Adventureful, -2 Lemon Up, -2 Trefoil. It's not that intuitive, but it means that you should have 5 Adventureful, 2 Lemon Up, 2 Trefoil, 3 Do-si-do. So then in an ideal world, if your inventory and allocations even out, then your total difference is going to be 0 at the end. So if you try to over allocate anything, then eBuddy will give you an alert and be like, you don't have enough inventory for this. That means somewhere along the way, some transaction didn't go through. Like let's say your pickup from the buffer didn't go through, or you, I don't know, over allocated somewhere, double input a receipt, something like that. eBuddy is really good about the inventory, even though it shows kind of funny. You do need to pay attention to that, because we want to make sure that your inventory to what's due, it reconciles at the end. Okay, so then let's say you have this whole bunch of cash because Girl Scouts have given you money, and then and you just had a cookie booth and you want to make a deposit, you want to have the cash out of your hand. You all are welcome, and Neighbor Islands in particular, you probably will have to do this on your own. Go deposit the money either at First Hawaiian Bank or Bank of Hawaii. So we've provided you with deposit slips. Let me show you. Sorry, give me 1 second. We provided you with deposit slips. For both banks. So if you're making a deposit at either bank, you do need to use the pre-printed deposit slips that automatically connect to council's bank accounts. So you can see here, this is the example of the Bank of Hawaii one. This is the First Hawaiian Bank one. Whichever bank is closest to you, doesn't matter which, we have no preference. But just clearly notate the information. So your troop number, you don't really have to worry about service unit number necessarily, and whether or not it's gift of caring. If you do have gift of caring donations, you do need to separate that out, because that's just a different way we account for it. But if it's purely just cookie sales, so from Girl Scouts and your booth, then you can lump it all together, and then write down the amount of cash that you have, and then you deposit it, and then you want to make sure that you get a receipt. So this here has just some like important notes to make sure that they're like, what's the word, like they'll usually like pass the deposit slip through, and then that is the way that our accounting team can verify who that deposit belongs to. So you need to make sure that they're passing the deposit slip through, and it makes a copy, like an electronic copy, and then you can get a receipt at the end. So that's just a good practice to do to make sure that your troop is getting the credit for that deposit. And then after you go to make the deposit at the bank on the same day, you'll go back into eBuddy and then go into the payments tab. And then you would just click plus add, choose the bank, Bank of Hawaii or First Hawaiian Bank, the date, reference number, if it has one, or just whatever note you need to help yourself, and then the same amount that was deposited. So the amount that was deposited should be the amount that you're putting into this payments tab. Those two things must match, otherwise there will be a discrepancy with the accounting team. And then you'll want to make sure to save. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, the final thing I'm gonna go over is the booth sales recorder. So booth sales are gonna be happening soon. So I wanna make sure that you have this in your toolkit. Sorry, just give me a second. Okay, so this is just a demo, so it's gonna look something like this, not exactly, but just kind of to get the idea of it. When you're in your eBuddy, so after the booth sales, the booth has happened, and you want to reconcile all your cookies, and then I recommend using this booth inventory sheet, so that you know that you got back exactly what was sold at the booth. You're gonna go to the booth sales. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Go to booth sales, and whatever booth has already happened, under the booth sales tab, you'll get a new button to record sale. So you click on record sale, you input the total packages sold by variety, and then if you process payments via digital cookie, you can input that there as well. And then there will also be a little slot for if any gift of Karen cookies were sold. And then you go to distribute, and then you can either select specific Girl Scouts if there were specific Girl Scouts at the sale, or if everyone was there, you just select everyone. So whoever was there, you'll just check them off, and then you click distribute. If you do a kind of like hour for hour allocation, it depends on how you're going to run your booth. You're able to change the total amount that each Girl Scout earns by just changing the totals once you click the arrow next to their name. So you can change the allocation by girl so that they earn the total cookie credit based on the hours earned, if that's how you're going to run the booth. And then you'll just click save. This will be super helpful to just input in so that the booth cookies, or sorry, that the troop inventory goes somewhere and your troop gets credit for it, and then the Girl Scouts also get credit for it. So once you distribute and save, that line will automatically populate onto that Girl Scouts Girl Order tab, giving her credit for those 53 packages sold. Okay, any questions on eBuddy? So in an ideal world, after the season has ended, all Girl Scouts have given you the money that was due. Again, remember, digital cookie sales, that money automatically gets credited to the Girl Scout, but any extra packages that they take out from you, that starts to add up, right, with money due. And so you want to make sure that they are giving you back that full cash that was due. So after they've given you everything back, all the money back, and then all the booths have reconciled and you got back everything that the troop has sold at the booth, if you go to the sales report, the amount due to council should be 0. So that's what we want to see. At the very end of the cookie season by April 5th, that amount you owe council is zeroed out. Okay. So, oops. I'll just share my screen on this. Sorry, my computer is a little slow. Okay. So important reminders in eBuddy, and I hope y'all will have access to these slides. So just kind of, it's a little bit more like a checklist, if you will. But do not allocate initial order cookies. Any initial order cookies that the Girl Scout put in, so whether from the paper order card or digital cookie girl delivery, those are already allocated and in the girl's name. Only allocate cookies when they're at the time of distribution. So any cookies after initial order, when they come to you, you do the receipt, then you can input that information into eBuddy. If you're anticipating the Girl Scout coming in, don't put that information into eBuddy because that's unfairly making that Girl Scout responsible for those cookies before she even gets them. So any cookies that could be allocated could include extra girl delivery order cookies, as well as cookies for paper orders, or if they want to do walkabouts and have extra cookies on hand, that's when you're going to be allocating those cookies to them in ebudde. Cookies can be taken out of the girl inventory and back into the troop. So that's in a case where the Girl Scout comes back to you and says, hey, I wasn't able to sell these cookies. So they give them back to you. You still do the receipt, but do a reverse. So you can do a -2 Adventureful, -2 Lemon Ups. And then in ebudde, you do the same exact thing. You just minus it out when you're adding that order in the girl order tab. And then it takes those cookies out of the Girl Scouts inventory and back into the troop. Because all of you as ASLP troops are able to return cookies to council as long as they're in sellable condition. Use the plus pay function if the Girl Scout hands in money, but you can also add in the money paid in a plus order if you want to. Use the girl order tab to check balance due. My recommendation, if the balance due is over 200, do not distribute more cookies until money's handed in. Unfortunately, we've had instances where Girl Scouts have taken out a lot of cookies and in some cases have owed over hundreds of dollars, and that money was never handed into council. So you want to be very diligent and vigilant on what money is actually due for any extra cookies that are taken out. And then us as council, we're going to use that balance due in the girl orders tab to reconcile any money cookie owed. So for example, at the end of the season, I'm going to go into everyone's ebudde, look at the girl order tab, and then look at balance due to make sure everyone's reconciled. So that's where keeping up with all ebudde allocations and money handed in. So keeping up with all of that and inputting that into ebudde will be super important. And then if you hand money to council, so to me, Mia, or at the buffer, this is particularly for Oahu, make sure any girl money is clearly labeled with their first and last name, troop money, and troop number, and amount submitted. And then always use receipts for both cookie distribution and any money that a Girl Scout has handed to you. And then just retouching on cookie financials. You all can deposit money into First Hawaiian Bank or Bank of Hawaii, but only council accounts, and then use those council issued deposit slips. You can lump all of that money together. So any Girl Scout money handed in and booth money, you can lump it all in one, because ideally you're inputting the individual transactions under the girl orders tab. Use the payments tab to post any bank deposits made. So again, under the payments tab, you're going to choose which bank, input that information, and then the deposit must match the payment that you posted to ebudde. Don't ever mingle personal cookie money. Never have more than $1,000 in your possession at one time. If you're depositing, deposit regularly. And then if you're on Oahu, coordinate with either Mia or I, if you prefer handing money to us. And then all deposits are going to be due by April 5th. And then for you all as advisors doing that direct communication with Girl Scouts and families, you can set the Girl Scout deadline a few days prior. So let's say I know that my next troop meeting is April 2nd. So I'm going to say all cookie money is due April 2nd. That way you have enough time to collect the money and then make the deposit yourself. All right, any questions before we talk about cookie booths? All righty, so cookie booths, super fun, super exciting. I'm really excited to see Girl Scouts at their booths this year. I think that there's going to be a high demand, as there always is. And then this is really where Girl Scouts get to put their entrepreneurial skills in practice, challenge themselves, take risks. So it's really exciting to see them grow. So obviously, make sure to have on hand the cookies. For Oahu advisors, many of you will be coming to the buffer prior to your cookie booth to pick those cookies out and then go off to your booths. For our ASL, for our neighbor island people on Maui and Kauai, make sure that you are coordinating either with Alicia on Maui or with Genevieve on Kauai. And thank you again for helping with that. Everyone will have petty cash. So I'm actually going to be working on that this week to either get you petty cash. I have to figure out the best way to do that because I'm not going to mail cash. So I might ask one of you on each island to actually make the deposit and then coordinate with the advisors to pick up that cash. But even so, whatever petty cash you do start with, it'll be either $50 or $60. All of that must be returned at the end. So we'll make note of whatever petty cash was made. And then at the end, by April 5th, the expectation is that you're giving back that same exact amount. You'll also want something like a table and a tablecloth. You'll want that booth inventory sheet we talked about, signage or troop made artwork. So maybe that's something you could work on before cookie booths start. You want a first aid kit, Square if you're choosing to use it. So download the app, but then if you need a Square reader, we can get you one. And then have access to the Troop digital cookie link. So important cookie booth guidelines. You must have a minimum of 2 adults for a group of Girl Scouts, one of which must be registered and background checked. So if you're leading all the booths, great. You've already taken care of one requirement of one person being background checked and registered member. And then the second adult can just be like a parent. If you're having issues with like booth supervision, please connect with us. We might, we can try to help you in some way, or see if there's another booth that you can pick up if you don't have enough adults. Never leave the booth unattended. So don't just leave the inventory and the cash and all the things out. Girls can never be left alone at a booth for any amount of time or for any reason. So even if the 2 adults need to go to the bathroom at the same time, that cannot happen. Girl Scouts need to be supervised at all times. Use the buddy system when using restrooms. Only Girl Scouts and supervising adults should be at the booth, so no tag along. So the little brother or other family member can't just be there. They really need to not be there, just to make sure that it's a Girl Scout and adult-led booth. And then for our Oahu staff, hand in a booth inventory sheet after the booth. And this is after you've input the booth sales into the recorder. This will just help me to have an extra set of data. So if you can hand in your booth inventory sheet, that'd be great. And then on Oahu, staff and cookie captains may help out at your cookie booth. Mia has communicated that. So just be on the lookout for anyone who comes up and like, oh, hey, I'm here to help. That's who they are. And then for Girl Scouts, either wearing a Girl Scout uniform or wear. So that goes back to the question of if they don't want to wear a vest, that's okay. Hopefully they have at least a Girl Scouts of Hawaii t-shirt. So that's just as fine, no worries. They do need to wear closed-toed shoes. Keep cash out of sight at all times. Girls' information should never be shared. So not even their last name, no nothing. You want to make sure that we're protecting their privacy. Keep booths presentable and inviting. So that they may want to brainstorm ways that they can make their booth really exciting and something where, customers want to come up to them. And then always leave the space better than you found it. We at Council work really, really hard for all of our partnerships that we have with all of our booth partners. So we do ask that you're all also helping with that in leaving the space better than you found it. So picking up all your trash, having Girl Scouts help with that, and then leaving it nice for that next troop too, if there's someone else who's going to take on that booth. Any questions on cookie booths? I also realized we're like at time. Sorry, I'm going to hurry up. So this is the digital cookie mobile app. Once you log in, you can create a transaction. You put in the total by variety. And the really nice thing if you're using it at a booth is you can select the booth that you sold those cookies at. And then you just process the transaction that way. So The mobile app is a really great way to just keep everything all in one place. Where Square, it's like a separate, a whole separate thing. The mobile app keeps everything in eBuddy. Your troop gets the credit, and it's a really great tool. So I would consider playing around with it once you get to Cookie Boots. So Square is an alternative to digital cookie troop links. We will post all Square payments to your troops eBuddy. But you do need to use Square transactions to reconcile your booth sales. And again, if you're not logged into your into the correct Square account, so if you're not connected to Girl Scout cookies and you're not seeing the cookie menu, then you're not in the correct account for cookie sales. Sorry, I was going quick. Important reminders for families. Girl Scouts may have been continuing to collect cookie orders. Any paper or physical orders, Girl Scouts are collecting money after the cookies are delivered. For digital cookies, all options are going to be available after cookies are on island, including in hand. And then if Girl Scouts have girl delivery orders, the families do just, make sure that they're marking it as complete after the cookies get delivered. That way they're, whatever the case might be, but they want to mark the delivery as completed. And then here are some resources. And then you know how to reach me. Okay, sorry, that's it.
Thanks, Raina. Any last questions before we let everyone go? Go ahead. Okay. I will be sending the recording now and the PDFs slides tomorrow morning. Other than that, you can send us an email with any questions you have from our meeting that come to mind, okay? Hope everyone has a great rest of their night. And we'll talk to you probably this week with cookies.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
thanks.
you.
All right.
Okie dokie.